Boris Johnson won't say who really paid for his free holiday to a private Caribbean island after his millionaire friend denied footing the bill.
Here's a summary of the article.
Boris Johnson is under pressure to reveal who paid for his New Year trip to the Caribbean after the businessman who the Prime Minister said funded the holiday denied ever doing so. The Prime Minister's register of interest suggests that the accommodation came to £15,000 and was a benefit in kind from businessman Ross, who is also a donor to Johnson's Conservative Party. A spokesperson for Ross said, Boris Johnson did not stay in David Ross's house. A spokesperson for Johnson quoted by the Mail said the declaration was a mistake and that businessman Ross did not put his hand in his pocket whatsoever and can obviously prove that he most definitely did not pay anything and it was not his house. Mr. Ross facilitated accommodation or Mr. Johnson on Mustique valued at £15,000, therefore this is a benefit in kind from Mr. Ross to Mr. Johnson and Mr. Johnson's declaration to the House of Commons is correct. Boris Johnson must come clean about who has paid for his luxury trip, John Trickett, Labour's Shadow Cabinet Office Minister, said. Lord Peter Ricketts, who was the UK's National Security Advisor between 2010 and 2012, said the Prime Minister should have realised that the world doesn't stop over Christmas and New Year, and said Johnson was caught short by the diplomatic crisis.
This post received a score of 19,446, with an upvote ratio of 94%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Refusing to disclose should automatically disqualify him from public office. It's a bribe, plain and simple.
How is this not a given in every democracy?
If the UK is anything like Canada it wouldn't matter anyways. Trudeau got busted for this exact same thing. When I say exact I mean being given a Caribbean vacation by a Wetley lobbyist on their private island and all the info was out in the open. He got charged with conflict of interest and breaching several ethics laws, rules, but nothing happened at all.
The blatant corruption of public officials is becoming so overwhelmingly obvious I truly wonder if it'll spark a revolution in the West. I'm not advocating violence or anything, but the way I see it, as long as these people feel like they have nothing to fear, nothing will ever change.
There's a reason this quote is so pertinent. The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. It is its natural manure. Too bad we're too fat, comfortable, and well entertained, much like the Romans were while Rome was burning, but since they were having fun, meh, who cares lol.
If 1,000 men were not to pay their tax bills this year, that would not be a violent and bloody measure, as it would be to pay them, and enable the state to commit violence and shed innocent blood. This is, in fact, the definition of a peaceable revolution, if any such is possible. Henry David Thoreau, Civil Disobedience.
I always wondered what would happen if like 1/4 of the population just withdrew their savings, if any, and just stopped going to work.
If 1/4 of American workers were to strike, they would get everything they demanded within a few days. 1/4 would stop the other 3 from doing much. Getting 1/4 of Americans to strike is hard. Most of our culture and social systems are set up precisely to make it hard.
I'm prob on a watch list just for writing this, oops.
Don't worry, we all are already on watch lists.
Does Britain not have an ethics officer that reviews the integrity of the Prime Minister's expenditures?
Yes, there's the Committee on Standards and Privileges. I think the confusion right now is that Johnson said David Ross paid for it, David Ross says he didn't, and now Johnson says that the record of the matter is accurate. Someone's lying, and I can hazard a guess as to who it is, but there's no definitive answer yet. Update: David Ross has now said it was provided as a benefit in kind, although what that actually means isn't entirely clear.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.